always smile when I'm out and I see an Alfa Romeo around. I just feel like these are the kind of, if you know kind of vehicles. Plus, they look so great in this sea of sameness with all the blobby SUVs. So I was really excited to get the Stelvio on the schedule, but I'm left this week with kind of a torn feeling on this vehicle. I'll go through why as we go through this video, but as always, we're going to take a look at this thing from the outside in and talk about what it's been like to live with for the past week. Let's go ahead, take a look. For 2025, Alfa has pared down the Stelvio offering, so now there's essentially just one trim level, plus there's a special edition. This is the Tributo Italiano special edition, but 99% of what you see here is available on the regular Stelvio, so if you're just looking at a normal, non-special edition one, then this is definitely still relevant. And new for 2025 is Verde Fangio, which I am absolutely positive that I butchered that as well. I'm pretty good at butchering Italian words, but that is a beautiful shade of green. And so I'm a little bit bummed that I got sent a white one and not one of those cool green ones. Pricing for the Stelvio starts around $49,000, with this one loaded out to about 58 grand. The green would set this one back another $2,200, or red would add 700. The Stelvio is powered by a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder, and now that the QV is gone, this is your only powertrain option. We're looking at 280 horsepower, 306 pound-feet of torque. You got a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission and a heavily rear-biased all-wheel drive system. Fuel economy is rated at 24 miles per gallon combined. Note that there's no mild hybrid system, so that's where like the X3, the GLC, some of the competition is going to get a little bit of a leg up. But honestly, 24 miles per gallon is not too shabby. We've got double wishbones up front, multi-link rear suspension. This has a class-exclusive carbon fiber drive shaft. Make sure to store that fact away and use that at parties. There is an optional limited slip differential in the rear, though this one has it standard since this is the special edition. This thing still looks great, even in white. It just blends in a little bit too much. Not from the front, though. That's still very distinct. Size-wise, this Stelvio is competing with the BMW X3, the Mercedes GLC, the Audi Q5, Porsche Macan, Acura RDX, Lexus NX, kind of. I love the look of these 21s. This is such a cool design, especially with the red calipers popping through. Note that these are standard on the Tributo Italiano Special Edition. You can option them on the regular Stelvio, otherwise you get 19s or 20s. No matter what size wheel you get the 4-piston Brembo brakes in the front, the 1-piston in the rear, and you're wrapped in all seasons, but it's a pretty respectable all-season tire here with the Continental Cross contacts. Mirrors are power folding, heated, auto-dimming, tilt when you go in reverse. They fold when you lock up the car. We got the LED turn signals in there. All things you'd expect in this class. You want the little Italian flag sticker on there, you got to get the special edition. Keyless access, also standard, only on the front doors here. Unlock on the inside, lock on the outside, and horrible beeping sound. Parking sensors in the front and rear are also standard, but note that those are just proximity sensors. There are no cameras up here. There's no 360 view or anything like that. I'm a little bit surprised to see that at this price point in this class, but I'm glad to see the LED adaptive headlights and their auto leveling as well. LED daytime running lights, LED fog lights too. It's just such a great looking front end. Rear gets LEDs as well. Love to see the rear wiper there. Do have the diffuser going on down here. That's an option on the regular Stelvio. It's standard on this Tributo Italiano. Note the lower trim all around the back would be black on the regular one too. It's kind of all the way around. The lower trim is all black on the regular Stelvio. Got kick to open. Love to see that. Not a huge amount of space in the cargo area, at least not on paper. I think it's mostly just due to the shape of the hatch. This is a little bit more than what the Macan has on paper. The X3, the Q5 are going to have a lot more space, but honestly, this looks like quite a bit. I don't think you're going to have any issues fitting all your stuff back here. Plus, you got the 40-20-40 split on the seats, and you can pull these tabs on the sides here and then just give the seat a little shove. You're going to knock those down. Get a little bit extra space. Those will fold flat. Got tie downs on the side. You got a 115 over here on the side. Underneath, spare tire delete. Don't love to see that. Just to fix a flat kit. You know, helping with that near 50-50 weight distribution, I guess, though. I think I'd rather offset it a little bit and just have a spare. Before we head inside, we got a pretty standard Stellantis key here. It looks a lot like the one I have for my minivan, but you got your standard lock unlock, open the trunk, but it also does have remote start. Love seeing it on the key so you don't have to dig through the app. So that is right there. Just press that down twice and it'll start right up. The interior is where I start to get some of my mixed feelings. This clearly hasn't been updated in a long time, but it is definitely far from being all bad. There is a lot of good still going on in here. It just clearly hasn't been updated in a while. These are the sport seats with the adjustable bolsters, and I love them. They're aggressive but comfortable, and anytime you get adjustable bolsters, I'm sold. I love the leather all around with the red stitching. I would definitely opt for the leather in the dash and the doors if I were not getting the special edition, since those are not standard on the regular Stelvio. Otherwise, you get the hard black plastics, and it just takes away from some of the classy feel. I really like the look and feel of this. It makes it feel a lot more upscale. The aluminum trim here is not too shabby. I do wish there was a carbon fiber option, but that's really pretty nitpicky. This aluminum trim is not bad, and it's way better than if they used glossy black stuff everywhere. You know, the Grecale just has way too much gloss black, and this is much cheaper and has a nicer feeling interior, and doesn't use those glossy black buttons either. Even on the steering wheel here, these are hard plastic, but I would much prefer this than what all of the other luxury automakers are doing. One little nitpick here on the steering wheel, I do wish that the volume and the tuning were switched. I feel like the volume should be a roller and the tuning should be buttons, but again, nitpicky. The cluster is super simple. There are a few different gauge layouts and a few pieces of info you can cycle through. The infotainment is integrated into the dash. You can customize the layout, a few different performance gauges, and all kinds of settings in here. You do get the choice between touch or the dial down here, but it is slow, it's laggy. I've had problems with touch on some of the colder days. It is pretty small, which is annoying mostly for just the backup camera, and I've had problems with glare as well. Android Auto and CarPlay are in here, but they're wired. Not the end of the world. You can always get a dongle. Just kind of surprising to see in this class. Also, a little surprising is the only upgraded sound option is a 14-speaker Harman Kardon system. It's fine. It gets the job done. I just would have liked to have seen something a little more premium, at least as an option. The HVAC is all physical controls, which is a benefit of the interior quote falling behind. But note that the heated seat button does not have a ventilated seat button next to it because there is not one available. Auto dimming mirror, garage door openers, nice big sunroof, which comes paired with a black roof. Heading to the back seats, these are heated too, and they're pretty decent. We do have some vents back here and some USB-Cs, a little compartment. This kind of looks like, reminds me of Bender for some reason, but on paper, these are tiny. They're about 31 inches of legroom. I don't know how they measure that because this definitely does not feel that tiny. I've been in cars that say that they have 33 or 34 and they feel smaller than this. So at 5'7" though, I fit okay back here. They're still not huge. You're still not going to really be able to fit rear facing car seats unless you've got your seat shoved all the way up. Forward facing, you're going to be maybe okay as long as you're not super tall. But if you have a taller family or if you've got rear facing car seats, this is going to be a little bit on the tight side. Overall, it's a nice interior. It's just a little bit sparse for the class. No heads-up display, no ventilated seats, no true premium audio system, no wireless Android Auto. I wouldn't necessarily call any one of those things a deal breaker, but altogether it just makes it a little bit tougher to justify versus the competition. So, driving the Beta Juliet. If you don't care about driving dynamics, you're probably in the wrong place. That's a big part of why you buy an Alfa. Unfortunately, with the Quadrifoglio gone, now there's only a 4-cylinder turbo, and it's still quick. There's just not a lot of fizz. With an Italian car, I was hoping for a little bit more fizz, a little bit more character from the engine. And there's a little bit of lag on the throttle, just a little bit of turbo lag as well as throttle lag kind of mixed in there. And that's where a mild hybrid system really helps, like the one BMW uses, the one Mercedes uses. But after that initial half second or so, again, it's quick. The power comes easily. It's plenty for the road. The transmission shifts quickly. It's a ZF, so expectations are high, and it meets those just fine for the application. Plus, I love these big aluminum column-mounted paddle shifters for when I want a little bit more control. Handling is great for a crossover. The Stelvio has a near 50-50 weight distribution, plus power is coming primarily from the rear wheels, and the steering ratio is spot on. And the mechanical LSD helps for when you really start to push it, as does the active suspension and the big wheels. So even with that suspension, these big wheels hitting some of the divots around here in Connecticut is a little bit rough, They look great, but I would probably opt for the 19s or 20s just to get a slightly better ride. So it does driving dynamics well, but you're probably not buying this as your primary canyon carver, and it has to do daily duties as well. And it does a pretty good job for the most part. It's pretty quiet. It rides pretty nicely as long as you're not smashing pothole after pothole. The seats are comfortable. It has a pretty decent list of safety features, including blind spot assist, rear cross traffic, adaptive cruise, forward collision warning. This one has the added assist package with the lane centering and the intelligent speed assist, which can adjust your speed based on what the current speed limit is. All of these work fine, though the sound forward collision warning makes it about give me a heart attack. I really don't know what to make of this driving experience. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to throw around, but that's not really the primary reason that you buy a crossover. And there are competitors that are just as fun to throw around with a little bit more responsiveness, a little bit better brakes, more features that help with the daily drive, especially when we're talking about the 4-cylinder turbo versions. It's just in a tough spot. So at the end of the week, I'm left a little bit torn on the Stelvio. I really had high hopes, high expectations. I feel like there are a few specific types of people that would buy this car. If you want it for the styling, if you want it for the uniqueness, you don't see a lot of these. If you want it for the handling, I guess, but the competition, there are other cars that still handle very well. The Turbo 4 is not really a special engine. Yeah, it's quick, but everybody has Turbo 4s, and this is a huge class full of vehicles with Turbo 4s and above. Now you can't even get the V6 with this, so competition offers bigger engines as well. But with the Turbo 4, BMW, Mercedes have mild hybrid systems which help with the efficiency as well as sort of mitigating some of the turbo lag, especially BMW. You don't buy this vehicle solely on performance. It's a crossover. It has to be able to do the daily stuff well as well. And you lose out on a lot of features just because it is kind of falling behind in the cycle, losing out to a lot of the other Stellantis vehicles that are more mainstream and have to be updated a little bit more consistently. There are a lot of features that you'd expect on a premium product that you just don't get here. I'm really torn because I want to love this car. I still think it's the best looking in the segment. I still think, it is fun to drive, but the problem is, is that enough? Because, the BMWs, the X3 handles well too. The Q5 handles well. The GLC handles well. The F-Pace they all handle well. They're all plenty quick. They all offer more available features. So it's really tough to justify buying this one. I would have a tough time buying this over some of the competition. As always, let me know how you feel about the Stelvio down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.